Welcome to GLOBEWATCH with me, Charles EBUNE, and today from the residence of the British High Commissioner to Cameroon here in Yaoundé. Last June 23, the British people voted in the historic decision to leave the European Union, an association they have been a member for the past 40 years. In the words of former Labour Business Secretary Chuka Omuna, it was a seismic decision which affects millions of British people centuries to come. So what next for the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland in the period of leaving the European Union? And how should the world treat and collaborate with the United Kingdom in the ex-European Union membership period? John Brian OLLEY, welcome to GLOBEWATCH.
Very pleased to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
I'm sure you have read the famous book by Daniel Defoe, which talks about Robinson Crusoe.
Yes.
Is that how the British have decided to live in the world today?
Absolutely not. No. Thank you very much for referring to the historic vote by the British people just over a month ago. The message that the British people were saying at the time, I think, is that they want a different relationship with Europe. As you said, we have been a member of the European Union now for many, many years, and they have been watching the direction of travel that Europe is going in. And now they have decided that they wish to leave the European Union. So this historic decision by the British people has to be respected. This is democracy in action. But this is not to say that we wish to be isolated in any way. Far from it. We want a strong relationship with Europe. We're seeking a relationship which is good for the United Kingdom and good for Europe. And at the same time, obviously, we need to reinforce and strengthen our links with the rest of the world.
I'm sure you understood why I quoted Daniel Defoe's top character, Robinson Crusoe, and you understand that this book talks about an island where people want to do everything themselves, and they realize that at the end of the day, they are unable to do that, and that is what brought the principle of division of labor in economics. And I'm using that literary situation to tell our audience that Britain is an island nation that thinks that geographically she doesn't need to belong in an association where she should live alone. Is that possible in the 21st century?
The links between countries and continents are extremely important. We have very, very strong links already with many countries. We've also had different sorts of relationships between countries in the European Union. The United Kingdom has not been a member, for example, of the Schengen visa-free travel zone, nor have we been a member of the Euro common currency. So already our relationship with Europe has been different from some other countries. And similarly, we have very strong links commercially. We have an excellent economy at the moment. We are the 5th largest economy in the world. We're a member of the United Nations, a member of the Permanent 5 Security Council of the United Nations. We're a member of the G20. We're a member of NATO. So clearly we have extremely strong international links, and that will continue in the future.
That will continue in the future, but the then Foreign Secretary, Philip Hammond, said during the campaigns that if Britain votes to leave the European Union, her global position will be, quote, end of quote, diminished.
Clearly, we are in a different era. We're in a different position now, and I think actually many of the predictions that people were making before the historic vote last month are turning out to be rather different. It has been quite surprising, for example, to see the financial markets in London actually increase, and the value of shares have increased. We've also seen substantial investment in information technology in the last few weeks in the United Kingdom. So I think, as I underline, we need to look forward. We need to look forward to strengthening our links, including, if I can just finish, including with the Commonwealth. And that's particularly relevant for Cameroon.
You are very much aware that just a day after the decision to leave the European Union, the pound felt by so historic in about 30 years, since the 1980s, in the days of Margaret Thatcher. You are very much aware that just in a day after Brexit, the governor of the Bank of England, Mark Carney, injected some 326 billion pounds into the British economy to ensure the stability of the market. And economists have argued that if the British don't take severe budgetary measures, it will be a difficult position. In the words of the G20 member countries, it will be a terrible financial shock.
Well, I think a lot of people before the historic vote were trying to warn of the uncertainty that would occur. And clearly the position now is rather less certain than it was, say, a month ago. And the weakening of the pound by around about 10%.
Well, the truth is that you will not have a budgetary surplus by 2019 as projected by then British Treasury Secretary, or if you like, Chancellor of the Exchequer, George Osborne.
Well, the weakening of the pound by 10% is a lot less than people were predicting. And as well as that, there are many advantages in a weaker pound in terms of our viability on the world markets and our ability to sell goods. So there are many advantages from our current situation. And I just must emphasize again that we have an extremely strong economy. Our unemployment levels are at historic lows, and we have technology companies who wish to invest in the UK.
Behind you is still the flag of the European Union. The new Prime Minister, Theresa May, says that she is not going to talk about Article 50, of course, of the Lisbon Treaty, which opens the path for the departure of the United Kingdom from the European Union. When should we expect the start of negotiations for departure?
Well, as you say, the discussions that our Prime Minister, Theresa May, has had so far, including with President Hollande and Angela Merkel, have indicated that she has not decided exactly when to declare Article 50. She's made it clear that that declaration will not take place this year. So even after that declaration, we have 2 years of negotiation as a minimum before we exit the European Union. So as you quite rightly say, before me, behind me at the moment, we have the European Union flag, and we, the United Kingdom, remain a full member of the European Union with all the rights and obligations of a member state.
Why do you think that people like Nigel Farage, people like Boris Johnson, people like Michael Gove, the former Justice Secretary who unsuccessfully did not become the next Prime Minister, these are people who said that we want to leave the European Union immediately, and the British Conservative Party at the end of the day did not even choose a Prime Minister who backed Brexit. Why is everybody so reluctant to leave the European Union immediately now?
Well, I have to emphasize that our Prime Minister, Theresa May, has confirmed that the will of the British people will be respected, and we are leaving the European Union. And you mentioned Boris Johnson, who is our new Foreign Secretary, and also David Davis, who is responsible for the department for exiting the European Union. Obviously, these negotiations are very complex. Nobody has said that we will leave immediately. That was definitely not one of the options. And they understand the complexities of the situation we're in. And now we are seeking a solution which is good for Britain and good for Europe.
It's true that you have left the European Union, you'll be £10 billion better by having trade agreements with the Chinese and Treasury Secretary Philip Hammond has been in China. He attended the last G20 meeting in Chengdu and has been discussing on bilateral relations. But the key issue is you guys say you don't want an uncontrolled system of immigration. But you know that for you guys to have such multi-billion-dollar trade deals with countries like China, you need to open up for immigration. Are you ready to take millions from Nigeria, millions from China, millions from India, and probably millions of others from Africa into the UK? Because if you don't do that, you know how many people, foreigners, work in the NHS.
Well, first of all, to talk about immigration. Clearly the British people, part of the reason that they decided that they wanted a different relationship with the European Union was because of the uncontrolled or the lack of controls for those people moving to UK from European Union member states. And that severely restricted our ability to accept people who wish to move to the United Kingdom from other parts of the world. And what we're looking at now is putting controls in place, national controls, which means that we can choose which parts of the world people move to the United Kingdom. Now, we have, for example, at the moment, a visa system in place. We have around 5,000 applicants per year from Cameroon for visas. We accept 2/3 of those. 2/3 of the people who apply for a visa in Yaoundé get a visa. I think those are quite good figures.
That's a huge figure, and I still remain on the issue of immigration because your new Foreign Secretary, Boris Johnson, is calling for an Australian-typed immigration bill, which seems to be, it's even more complex than the one that the European Union provides. You want to remain a member of the European single market, and there is a rule of the European single market that everybody must accept the 4 freedoms principle, including the free movement of people. You have about 3 million Brits living in other European countries. You cannot get a good trade deal with the Europeans without the free movement of people.
Well, one of the interesting historical facts about the European Union is that it has never stayed the same. As it has evolved, it has changed in terms of numbers.
Do you think they are so desperate to have the British?
If I can just continue, it has continually re-evaluated its own rules and indeed the number of member states. And what we're looking for, we are looking ahead to the future, and it's very obvious that a strong relationship between the United Kingdom and the European Union is to the benefit of both parties. So we are confident that we will be able to negotiate a strong relationship, and just to emphasize that just as Cameroon has been discussing the merits, the benefits of the new trade deal with the European Union, we also will be looking to negotiate a new trade deal. So I've seen some speculation in the media that perhaps because of Brexit, somehow Cameroon should be re-evaluating their intention to sign and to ratify the trade deal with Europe. Absolutely not. We need, just as the United Kingdom is seeking a strong commercial relationship, it makes very good sense for Cameroon also to be ratifying a strong relationship as well.
Let's just put this interview into context and enable some of our international audience, especially the Cameroonian audience, understand what we are talking about. There was so much discussion. We want to get our country back. We want to take immigration. We want all these issues. Our economy is on. What kind of sovereignty were the British people really talking about when they said we want our country back? Was it sold to somebody?
The British people have indicated that they wish to have more of a say in how the laws are made in their country.
How much of the UK was sold to the European Union that the people were not happy?
I don't think you can put a figure on it, but clearly 52% of the United Kingdom voted to leave. Therefore, there's a sufficient majority there to say that they want increased level of sovereignty. As well as that, they wanted increased controls or increased say in how the movement of people takes place into the country. And they also want to have a very strong commercial relationship with Europe.
What kind of Britain are we going to have probably in 2019 when you will possibly be leaving the European Union? Because this is a 2-year negotiation process which can even extend to 2020. What kind of Britain should we expect? Let me narrow it. How should Cameroon, for example, deal with an ex-European Union United Kingdom today?
Well, we have very strong historical and commercial links with Cameroon. Of course, we share as well the fact that just as Cameroon is an extremely diverse culture, Britain as well, throughout 1,000 years or more, we have always had people coming to the United Kingdom and contributing and strengthening to our culture. So we will, of course, continue to welcome people to the United Kingdom. We will continue to benefit from the diversity of experience. And just to return to your, you mentioned the proposal, it's still only a proposal for an Australian-style points system. It's very sensible to be inviting those people who are going to be able to contribute most to the economy to give them a priority in terms of points system to come and join the economy of the United Kingdom. And I may say that Cameroon has an excellent education record looking at the attendance records and the level of education attained in Cameroon.
That sounds to be a very good diplomatic statement, High Commissioner.
But it's true. But it's true. If you compare Cameroon with many other countries around the continent of Africa, the education system and level of education attained in Cameroon is very high. And I think that will help Cameroonians considerably, both in terms of their relationship with the United Kingdom and with the European Union. And of course as well, Cameroon is almost unique in being a fully bilingual country, which again gives them access both to the Francophone countries and to the English-speaking countries.
My question now has to do with the people choosing to manage the United Kingdom in the years to come. You have David Davis, who will be handling Brexit affairs. He used to be the John Major's Minister for European Affairs. You have a kind of Trump-like Boris Johnson, who is managing the Foreign Office. This is somebody who has had hard language vis-a-vis President Obama. This is somebody whose statements across the world has shocked some people. Do you think there can be a possible clash between Theresa May's ideas and her top brass foreign policy team?
Well, we have now at the heart of the team responsible for foreign affairs and exiting the European Union, people who were very firmly in the exit camp. So I think that's absolutely right and proper. The British people can trust those people in the team to leave the European Union, that they will go forward and seek the best deal in line with the democratic decision of the people. And just to comment on the first few weeks of our new Foreign Secretary's taking over his job, I think we've seen that we've had some excellent meetings, some very productive meetings, as the Foreign Secretary has started meeting world leaders.
Let's talk about the internal impact of the Brexit. You know that the Scottish people had voted overwhelmingly to make sure that the United Kingdom is a member of the European Union. It's in 2014 that they had a referendum to leave completely the United Kingdom. Some analysts have said that David Cameron will be remembered as the Prime Minister who destroyed the Union, established in 1703 or 1702, depending on the constitutional date you want to use. If Britain doesn't secure a good deal with the European communities, there is a possibility that Scotland will leave, and you know what Northern Ireland have said, that it should be a reunion with the other island. Then probably by 2030 we will not have a country called the United Kingdom.
I think it is very significant that our new Prime Minister chose for her very first visit outside London to go to Scotland and to reassure the Scottish people that maintaining the union of the United Kingdom is one of her highest priorities. She's also made it very clear in a visit yesterday to Northern Ireland that she is looking to keep the border with Southern Ireland open to commerce and to people to be able to move across it freely, as is currently the case.
You know that such chances are very limited when you have the Scottish National Party with a huge presence in Parliament, and you know what Nicola Sturgeon has said, the Scottish First Minister. This time, if there is a second referendum for Scotland, they are going to leave the United Kingdom and join the European Union, and Brussels is simply waiting for them. You are aware of that?
Well, all I can say is that the maintenance of the Union of the United Kingdom is one of the highest priorities that the Prime Minister has already quite clearly stated. And as well as that, she has put, even from her very first speech on the steps of Downing Street when she first accepted to the nomination of Prime Minister, she made it very clear that she is looking for a Britain which is inclusive of all of the diverse pressures and interests. So she's, I'm quite sure, going to go forward making sure that that the needs and the interests of the Scottish people, the Northern Irish people and the Welsh people are properly represented.
By 2019, the volume of trade and the importance of the Commonwealth will be more than that of the European Union. That is one of the reasons you voted to leave the European Union, because you want a grip on the Commonwealth countries, which will, of course, become very important in the next global stage. What kind of control and pressure and dominance will the British have over Commonwealth countries now? Well, because that will be your major trading partners.
I think you're completely misrepresenting the relationship between the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth. We're not looking for a grip on the Commonwealth. We're not looking for domination of the Commonwealth. We're looking for a partnership. We're looking for, the Commonwealth has been a huge success story. Her Majesty the Queen has been celebrating her 90th birthday anniversary this year. And I think, as I said in my speech at the Queen's birthday party in June, here at the residence of the British High Commissioner, I said that the demonstration of soft power, of building relationships and partnerships, has been a huge personal success for Her Majesty the Queen, and the Commonwealth is a real representation of that success. So we're looking to strengthen the cultural and economic links in partnership with all the Commonwealth countries. And you're absolutely right that I think that we will see the Commonwealth playing an even more important role. And of course, Cameroon, as one of our newest Commonwealth members, will be playing a full part in that future.
For the UK to leave the European Union, it's true, everybody is talking about Article 50 of the Lisbon Treaty, which opens the right way. But you know that if the European Communities Act of 1972, which dragged in the British into the so-called Brussels controlling scheme, is not talked about and repealed, Britain will not leave the European Union. Is Buckingham Palace or Westminster ready to talk about the 1972 European Communities Act, which establishes the link between London and Brussels?
And this is a normal part of the process. Government and Parliament has to consider new laws all the time. And of course, any of the laws that are associated with the European Union will need to be reviewed.
Former US Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, simply qualified today as the father of global equilibrium, said, "When I want to call Europe, I don't know who to call because the powers and separations are just so many." Now that the UK, considered to be a special friend of the United States, has left the European Union, what Henry Kissinger said is even more powerful today. If I want to call Europe, I don't know who to call.
I think it's fair to say that when Henry Kissinger made that statement, the European Union was very different from the European Union we have today. The European Union has contributed hugely to the world. It has also brought many, many benefits to the member states, and we very much look forward to that continuing in the future.
The British High Commissioner to Cameroon, thank you very much indeed for being guest on GlobeWatch.
A pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome.